and welcome back to Exams Factory Masterclass. My name is Sandra, and today I'm going to be helping you with the C1 writing exam. All right, the tips we're going to look at today are 4. The first one, we're going to look at the top 5 writing mistakes that candidates make during the exam and how to avoid them. Next, we're going to make sure that you understand the assessment criteria. What are the examiners looking for in the writing exam? Our third tip is going to be 3 steps to successful writing. Okay, make sure you pay attention to this. And the last tip is a grammar planning hack that's going to help you make sure to include great grammar and structures in your writing. So stick with us, and that'll be at the end of the video. Right, the first tip of the day, we're going to look at the top 5 mistakes that candidates make during the writing exam and how to avoid them. Okay? One of the top 5 mistakes is you don't really know what is being tested. Yes, it's a writing exam. Of course, we're paying attention to the grammar and vocabulary that you use, but that's only 25% of it. We're also looking at your content. We're looking at the communicative achievement, how you wrote the task, and we're also looking at how you organized it. We're going to have a look at these criteria in detail in just a little bit. Another top mistake that students make is they misunderstand the task, okay? Make sure you address, highlight, and know exactly what you are supposed to cover in the exam. This way, you will guarantee yourself as many points as possible about content. Content is, did you write what you were supposed to write? Okay, so make sure that you understand the task. Another top mistake that students make during the exam is specifically related to part 2 of writing. So if you remember, in part 2, you're going to have a choice to choose between different types of writing tasks. I find that students make the mistake of choosing task type over task topic. What do I mean? A lot of you say, ooh, the report or the proposal, they tend to be a bit tougher to write. So people say, oh, I won't write it, I'll write the letter, for example. But what if the topic of the letter is something you're not very familiar with or you don't have a lot of vocabulary? Then it's not the right choice. You need to choose the task that you can write most about. So make it easy for yourself. Another mistake that candidates make is they ignore the reader. The hypothetical reader. Yes, obviously it's going to be read by an examiner or a corrector, but in the task they tell us who we're writing to. Is it for an article? Is it for a group of people? Is it for your boss? Keep in mind who this reader is going to be, because that's going to help you address it correctly, use the correct purpose of the task, and the correct tone, okay? So make sure you take that into account. That leads us to the top mistake that candidates make during the exam. And it's very simple. It's failing to plan, all right? We need to give ourselves some time during the writing exam to think about, what is it that I'm going to write? What is my opinion? How am I going to explain it? I'm going to give you some tips for planning at the end of this video, so stay with us, okay? Right, that's the end of the first tip. Let's look at the second tip for today. Understanding the assessment criteria. What are the examiners looking at? We saw it briefly before. Let's have a look in more detail, okay? 4 things the examiners are going to be looking at. The first criteria is called content. This refers to, did you write what you had to write? Did you follow the task? Okay? So this is something that's very easy to do if you make sure you address all parts of the task. The second criteria the examiners look for is called communicative achievement. How did you write this task? Are you using simple sentences? Are you using more complex? Are your ideas straightforward? Okay? This is going to give you more points in the C1 level. The other criteria is organization. How are you organizing your text? How are you linking the ideas you're paragraphing? Okay, so make sure the format is going to vary depending on the type of task, and so will the organization. And the last aspect that examiners look at is language. Yes, your grammar and your vocabulary. And I'm going to leave you with 2 words that are critical for a C1 candidate. They are range a variety of structures and vocabulary, and accuracy, getting them right. Okay? At C1 level, you have to be accurate and you have to have a range of vocabulary and structures. All right? Let's move on to the next tip. We're going to be looking at how to be successful in writing. And in this case, I'm going to give you 3 steps. They're very simple. The 3 steps to successful writing begin with planning, then we write, and the last one, reviewing and checking. I find that a lot of students forget to do the planning and then are too fast when they do the check. And we need to make sure that you are looking for mistakes. These 3 steps will guarantee that you are planning your answer, that you're considering the purpose, the audience, who's going to be reading it, okay? And this is going to give you better performance, even if you have some grammar mistakes. So again, brainstorming is key, okay? Giving yourself time to think about what is my opinion on this topic? How am I going to explain it? All right? So this leads me to the last tip for today, and perhaps one of the most useful, a hack that's going to help you plan for grammar. We've already talked about how to plan for the content. What am I going to write? What is my opinion? But we need to see, as examiners, that you are showing us how well you can write. So here's my hack. I don't know if you've ever heard of the concept of a mnemonic device. A mnemonic device is where we take words and the first letter of the word is actually representing something different, but it's a tool for us to remember. If you look at the screen, you'll see a mnemonic device here that I created and I think you'll find very useful. Many clever ideas produce results. This is something you're going to write down as soon as you get to the exam. Many clever ideas produce results, which is true. And the clever idea here is that each of the letters corresponds to a grammar structure that you should be using at C1 to show the examiners how well you can write. What does each one stand for? Here we go. The M stands for modals, for speculation. What might have happened, what should happen, what could, okay? Complex conditionals. At C1, we need to move past first and second conditional. I'm talking third conditional, mixed conditionals. The I stands for inversions, those structures when we say not only, but also, little did we know. These little things are going to show that you really know your C1 grammar. Passives, the P stands for passives. Yes, these are great to use in essays to convey information in a more formal or indirect way. And the R stands for relative and participle clauses that will help you explain your point of view, your ideas, and support your arguments in your writing. I hope that you find these tips useful, okay? And that you can ace your C1 writing exam. You got this.
Exams Factory, your best Cambridge exam experience.